Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 14th of September and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the video we'll be taking up the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper along with all the background as well as the way forward in the articles. Now guys, before starting I would like to tell you that you can download this explainer PDF from the Telegram channel, and this PDF you can follow along with the video to understand the articles. So guys, the link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box. Moreover, you can search in Telegram by typing Thinking Valid by Sahil, and there you can download this PDF. Now let's start, and before that, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are important, which articles are just to be read in a headline and like that. Okay, so first article that we can see here is that India-China confirms withdrawal of troops from the patrolling point number 15 in the Ladakh. So guys, understand this particular thing that since 2020 there is the confrontation that is going on between the India and China around the line of actual control. So there have been the designated patrolling points till which the countries have the power that they can patrol. Now on many of these patrolling points, the China had come since 2020, and there was one patrolling point which was very important, that is the patrolling point number 15. Now from here the China has pulled back, and this is a kind of a disengagement that is going on from the LAC, which is a very positive kind of a thing. Now guys, understand this particular thing that from the past 2 years there are the commander level talks that are happening between India and China, and this is a success of that particular thing that India and China are withdrawing from the LAC. Now understand this particular thing guys, that patrolling point number 15 is not the only point. There are multiple points where the confrontations are going on. So you need not to go too much in detail in this particular article. So just you need to see this particular thing. Beyond that, not important for UPSC exam. Then election commission delist 86 parties. Okay, now guys, the political parties which have been created but are not very much active, they are not contesting the elections, they are not filing their returns, fine, they have been delisted. Now you don't need to go and see the name of these 86 parties. Okay, Iran may urge India to restart the oil import. So basically guys, now the SCO, that is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meet, is going to be held, okay, in the Samarkand. Now there the Indian Prime Minister will be going, and Iran might urge India that India should start the crude oil trade with the Iran. Now till 2019 we were importing the crude oil from the Iran, but guys, then the Donald Trump said to India that if they will import the oil there might be the sanctions, so therefore India stopped the import of the oil. Now the Iran may again ask India that India should consider the importing of oil. However, this SCO meet, as it will happen, okay, so in this coming month only the SCO meet will happen, and when it will be there, we'll discuss entire meet, entire outcomes, the MOUs that will be signed in the detail. So it is going to held, and when it will happen we'll see in the detail. Then moving on guys, the advertisements, city section. Okay, regional issues, okay, sports quotas, DU trials have started, not important for your UPSC examination. So guys, these advertisements, tenders, etc., not important. Okay, the political and the regional news have been given, so you need to completely avoid them and will reach to the editorial page directly. Now on the editorial page, the first article, the buzzword now is all alignment. A very good article. This article talks about the foreign policy of India in the present times. What are the India's priorities? What India is looking forward? Good article. We'll see that. Then patent ecosystem. So how the basically what improvements are needed in India's patent ecosystem? We'll see this article. Then guys, the part of the pattern. So basically this article is talking about the Gyanvapi mosque issue that is happening because one of a court has addressed the petition. Now understand this particular thing that as this Gyanvapi case is going on, so it has become a kind of a political controversy, and in that particular capacity you don't need to go in such kind of an articles, because for UPSC exam point of view, okay, so Gyanvapi controversy, Babri Masjid controversy, these kind of things are not asked. Okay, so moreover with respect to UPSC related substance, the article is not relevant. Then guys, this article is talking about the US Open tennis. Okay, so again UPSC relevant substance is not there in this particular article. Then improved bill but still contentious. This article is talking about the Ports Bill 2022. We'll see this article. Opportunity for India and corporations, good article. We'll see this entire article. Then guys, moving on, the text and the context, the fall in the natural rubber prices in India. So the natural rubber prices in India, how the tire manufacturing industry find their profitability is declining. Okay, so this basically how much percentage of price has been increased. Fine. All these particular kind of things, all these particular datas are not important for the UPSC examination. So the fall in natural rubber prices, then moving on, understanding windfall tax. So this article is an important article with respect to the GS paper number 3, Indian economy. Fine, we'll see this entire article from the very scratch and background. Then the cognitive dissonance. So guys, the cognitive dissonance theory has been discussed, so briefly we will see this particular theory also. Then moving on, 103rd amendment was a fraud on constitution. So guys, we'll see this particular issue as what's coming. Then moving on, India to hold G20 summit in 2023. So guys, yesterday, if you have seen, I have taken an entire editorial in which we have seen that what are the initiatives in India in which India is going to participate, and what is the India's entire foreign policy, how it's changing. So please, if you have not seen the yesterday's newspaper analysis, I'll ask you to see that. However, G20 summit will be held by India, because guys, now India is also going to become the president for the G20. Then moving on, okay, unrecognized madrasas, famous seminaries in UP are unrecognized madrasas, not important for the exam. BJP protest in Bengal, okay, Gujar divides reveal fault in Congress, not important. Fine, please avoid the political articles. Then guys, moving on, essential medicine list. So guys, here we will see the NLEM, national list of essential medicines with respect to the health. Okay, that's we'll be seeing it. Then guys, moving on, oxygen shortage deaths. Okay, tele-oxygen shortage deaths. So basically, how many people have died because of the oxygen, on that particular thing the article is talking about. Okay. Then center hanging upon 1098, children have to call 1112. So basically the helpline number 1098 that was for the children, okay, it is being discussed. Then after that, moving on, 49 soldiers killed in clashes. Okay, after that, Charles visit to Northern Ireland. Fine, for UPSC examination, not important. Then guys, moving on, French cinema giant Godard dies, again not important too much for our examination. GST Council is a fledgling but vibrant institution, says Finance Minister. So guys, when we talk about the GST Council is a body which brings the finance ministry as well as the states together, and they discuss the contentious issues. Now in the past, there have been many issues into the GST councils where the states have not liked the idea of changing the GST prices and all such kind of a thing. So the finance minister has just made a statement. Finance minister had said that council is a fledgling institution, sometimes there some problem comes, but it is a vibrant institution. It gives representation to the states and all those things. Then Damodaran lead panel on PVC investment. Corporate news are not important. Guys, news related to Indian economy are important, academic issues are important, but corporate news, Sensex news, mergers of the companies, etc. are not important for UPSC examination. Okay, fine. Then guys, Nifty 5-month high. Okay, US inflation remains high. Okay, fine. Then that is all about that. Okay. After that, guys, we have the sports page. Okay, and now that's all about the overview, and now let's take all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. So guys, in every class, I give you a GS quotation which can be used in one of your GS papers to substitute your answers or to substitute your essays. So today we'll take the quotation from the Nobel Prize winner Abhijit Banerjee. So Abhijit Banerjee says that if the rules makes such a difference, then it becomes very important who gets to make them. So guys, understand that a democratic nation is governed by the rules, laws, legislations, institutions, and therefore these rules play a very important role. Now it's important who is making that particular law or rule. Why? Because a particular person's conscience, a particular person's ideology, a particular person's viewpoint will always be reflected in a law. So therefore only the people of highest morality, only the people of highest integrity should be allowed to make the laws, because these laws will influence the life of the millions and millions of people. Now understand this particular thing in a one particular context. Guys, if I give you the data, according to the Association of Democratic Reforms, right now in the present Lok Sabha, 43% of the MPs, they have the criminal charges, and out of that 29% of the MPs, they have serious criminal charges such as the charge of rape, murder, dacoity, etc. So basically you see that these are actually the people who are making the laws. And in this particular capacity, guys, what we see that in fact in India, the criminalization of politics, criminalization of politics has become a very important concern. So as laws play a very important role, and who makes them is also very important. We need to urgently deal with the problem of criminalization of politics. Deep seated electoral reforms are needed in India. So guys, in GS paper number 2 we can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2. In that particular thing, whenever we are talking about the electoral reforms issues, or whenever we talk about the criminalization of politics issue, we can use this particular idea. Moreover, this idea can also be used in GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity and aptitude. Ethics, integrity and aptitude. Okay, so that's all about the GS quotation for today. And guys, I hope that you have understood this entire idea. And now let's move to the first article. Okay, so guys, the first article we have taken from the text and the context page. First of all, let's read the heading of this article and let's see the utility of this article. So article reads, understanding the windfall tax. So this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3 issues related to Indian economy, and the issues related to the taxation. Taxation will see this particular article. First of all, I'll tell you the context that what has happened. So guys, recently the finance minister has justified the windfall taxes that has imposed recently. It has said that the windfall taxes that have been there, we have imposed them after giving a lot of thought. So they are not irrational, they are not arbitrary. So let's understand that what's this entire windfall tax, what this controversy is all about. So before going in this particular article, let's take some of the background first so that we can understand. Background. Okay, so guys, the background goes like this, that first of all, what do we understand by the windfall tax? Windfall tax, what it is? Okay, so let's take one small example. Suppose guys, let's say you own a factory, and in that particular factory you were making the masks. Now you were making the mask, let's say in 2019, when the pandemic has not come. At that point of a time, you know that the demand of the masks were not much. Okay, but still you were selling some number of masks, and let's say you are making a small profit. Let's say in 2019, before the pandemic, you were making a profit of, let's say, 1 lakh rupees per month. Okay, this thing was going on, and now the 2020 has come. And in 2020, what happened? The COVID-19 pandemic come, and suddenly, just in a matter of days or a matter of weeks, the demand of mask has increased many-fold. Now, everybody wants mask, and in this capacity, even if you want to increase the price of mask by 2 rupees, 3 rupees, you can do that particular thing, and still the people will need mask. So what happened? The pandemic started 2020, 2021. You were earlier making the profit of 1 lakh rupees. Now let's say you are making the profit of 5 lakh rupees. 5 lakh rupees. Is it clear or not? Why? Because suddenly the demand of mask has increased, and by that particular thing, if we can see, your profit has increased from 1 lakh to 5 lakh. In your profit has increased by 4 lakh. So now this profit, is it because of some your special effort? No. Is it because of some technology that you have discovered? No. Why this profit came? This profit came because of an act of God, an act of nature. You have not done anything to, you have not done any hard work to get this profit. So this sudden profit that has come, it is called as the windfall profit. And on this windfall profit, the government can impose a tax that is called as a windfall tax. So what is this windfall tax? So windfall tax is a special tax which is imposed for a particular period on some abnormal profits that a company or a person has achieved just because of some natural factors. So this is windfall tax. Now guys, why the windfall tax is being discussed here? So basically, why windfall tax is now coming? So basically understand that now we see that post-COVID, we are right now seeing the post-pandemic recovery. Now we are seeing the post-pandemic recovery. Now what's this post-pandemic recovery? The lockdown has been eased, economies are again opening up, and therefore as the economic growth is coming, again the demand for oil, again the demand for petrol, diesel, it's increasing. This is number one thing. So demand for oil, petrol, diesel, it's increasing. At the same time guys, we see this particular thing that the Russia-Ukraine crisis is going on. So Russia-Ukraine crisis is going on, and as it's going on, what has happened? Now Russia was a major exporter of the oil. Right now Russian exports, they have little bit reduced, and at that point of a time, the oil companies, now they are increasing the prices. So today the oil companies are increasing the prices. Why? Because first of all, there is a demand because of the post-pandemic recovery. Secondly, because of the Russia-Ukraine war, the Russian supplies have been reduced, so therefore they got now a opportunity that they can increase their profits and they can increase their prices and can get a lot of profit. So today the oil sector, so today the oil companies are making the windfall profit. Today they are making the windfall profits, and around the world the governments are imposing high taxations onto the oil companies for the windfall profits that they are making. So right now guys, you knowing this particular thing that the oil prices are all time high. And why they are all time high? Because number one, supply is there, demand is there, and number two, Russia-Ukraine war has also complicated the scenario. Now let's talk the Indian context. Let's talk about the Indian context. Okay. So basically guys, when we talk about the India, understand this particular thing that India imports 82% of their oil requirement. Okay. Now, but still we have some domestic capacities. For example, Mumbai High is there, then the oil fields are there in Assam. Okay, so basically in oil and gas we are depend on to the tune of 82% onto the imports, but still there are some domestic capacities. Now in this particular capacity we have example of Reliance. Then there is one more corporate by the name of Nayara. There is a corporate by the name of Nayara. Now Nayara, it is a Russian backed oil refinery. Nayara, it is a Russian backed refinery. Okay, now the Reliance and Nayara, what they are doing, they are exploring, they are digging a lot of oil, they are refining them because they own very big refineries, they are refining them and they are exporting these particular items to the other countries. So oil and petroleum products, number one, they are exploring, they are refining them and they are exporting them to the other countries. Now what has happened, as the global prices of the oil and petrol has been increased, so the Reliance, Nayara and many other corporates, so Reliance and Nayara are the bigger one, other also they are making a lot of profit in this particular capacity. So therefore what happened, Indian government has also introduced the windfall tax in the month of we have also imposed the windfall tax into the month of July. So just I'll highlight here. So India announced a windfall tax into the domestic crude oil producers who government believed were reaping the benefits of the high oil prices. So additional excise levy was also imposed onto the diesel petrol ATF. So the domestic producers, they are exploring the oil. On that, windfall tax was imposed. Many times they are exporting it and many times it is used in India. So therefore high taxes have been imposed. Now the finance ministry has justified that this windfall taxes, they are correct and we have not done anything wrong. Now understand this particular thing guys, that what is the viewpoint onto the windfall taxes, the viewpoint of the economist, the viewpoint of the United Nations as well as of the IMF. So understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the windfall taxes, okay, these taxes are the windfall taxes, these taxes are designed to tax the profit of a company which is derived from an external unprecedented event. Okay, for example, Russia-Ukraine conflict, pandemic, etc. Now guys, basically when we talk about the taxes that are being imposed onto the oil companies, understand this particular thing, that see what actually is happening. Oil companies have increased their prices, their profit has increased, but at the same time poor consumer, the one who is buying the oil, on that particular person there is a lot of pressure. Now what government's basic thinking is, government will collect more taxes on these corporates and that particular taxes will be used for the welfare purpose, that particular tax will be used for the social justice purpose. So in a way the government justifies that these taxes we are collecting so that we can spend it on social justice, we can spend it on the welfare, and it will essentially be the redistribution of income, it will be the redistribution of resources. And even in the India directive principle of state policy, DPSP, okay, redistribution of resources have also been talked about. So it has been justified. Now basically understand this particular thing, that what's happening. Okay, the government is giving the different rationales worldwide to introduce the windfall tax, from redistribution of unexpected gains, okay, as well as it is also being justified as that it will help in funding the welfare schemes. Okay, it will help in funding the welfare schemes. Moreover, it has also been said that it will provide the supplementary revenue stream to the government. Now government around the world, they are spending more money onto the health, their revenues have been declined because of the lockdown that is going on there. So these windfall taxes, they will serve multiple purposes. Again I'll tell, please listen very carefully. Purpose number one, it will help in the redistribution. You are taking excess profit of the corporate and you are using that money for social justice. So at the end of the day, redistribution is happening. Secondly, it will help in funding the social welfare scheme. It will provide a supplementary revenue stream. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that the United Nations Secretary General has called that today oil companies are making high profit because of this post-pandemic recovery, and this profit has been criticized as the grotesque greed. It has been criticized as the grotesque greed. Now, what do we mean by the grotesque greed? Grotesque greed simply means that ugly, something which is immoral, something which is bad greed, ugly greed. So this is a greed of the big oil companies. So therefore, these kind of taxes are to be imposed. And moreover, the United Nations Secretary General has also called this particular thing, that these taxes are actually, it is immoral. It is immoral that the oil companies, they have earned so much of the revenue. According to the United Nations Secretary General, in the first quarter of the year, the oil companies had made the profit of $100 billion. So how they are making the profit? By increasing the prices. And who is bearing the burnt of that high prices? The customer. So therefore, these taxes are to be used, and this money is to be used to fund the support of the most vulnerable people. So this is the viewpoint of the United Nations Secretary General. Okay, then guys, what the IMF's viewpoint is on these windfall taxes? So IMF's viewpoint is a very realist kind of a viewpoint. IMF says that okay, you can increase that particular tax and can use that particular money for the people's welfare, but according to the IMF, there are certain design problems that will come in this particular arrangement. What's the design problem? According to the IMF, okay, introducing these windfall profit taxes might make the investors demotivated. Investors will not be investing because they will think that if somewhere down the future we get the money, okay, we get the more profit, government will bring the windfall taxes. So the investors will be discouraged, they will not be investing. Then there is a political nature also. So basically, on some corporates, selectively the government can impose the taxes for the political reasons. Okay, so there is a political nature, and it will be frustrating the investors. Okay, so therefore they might not be bringing the investments. And then guys, there is one more counter argument that has been provided. It has been provided that whenever the windfall taxes are imposed, the companies, they argue that this profit that they are getting today, it's because of the risk that they have taken in the past. In the past, they have not got too much of a profit, but today if they are getting too much of a profit, it is a right of a corporate, and therefore the government should not introduce the windfall taxes. So this is a corporate argument that's given. So the argument that's given is that what windfall taxes they are earning, it is a reward for the industry's risk-taking behavior. Okay, fine, and in that capacity, it should not be imposed. So basically, understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about the windfall taxes have been both, they have been supported for the sake of welfare, social justice, and on the other hand, they have been criticized. It will impact the investors, it will impact the risk-taking appetite of corporate and all such kind of things. Okay, so this is, guys, all about this particular article. However, whatever the content has been given, we have discussed here. But before that, now this content is not the only one, because if you don't know the background first, you will not be able to make the sense of what this particular article is all about. So guys, the background that we have discussed, I hope that you have understood that particular entire background, and I hope that all the things are clear. And guys, if you want, just you can pause the video and can note down all this particular background, that what is this windfall taxes, etc. Now moving on, understand this thing, that guys, windfall taxes can be imposed retrospectively also, that is from the back date. For example, that can happen that, let's say today we are in September, government will say that since June, whatever the tax profits they have made, all those profits will be taxed. Now understand this thing, one more concept I want to tell you. So number one is that they can be taxed retrospectively. Second thing is that these taxes are not a permanent feature. For example, income tax is a permanent tax. Fine, it will be for all the times as you are earning the income, but these windfall taxes are temporary. They'll come for a particular period. Okay, so this is the 2 points that you need to understand. Now moving to the next article. Okay, 103rd amendment was a fraud on constitution. Okay, so we'll understand this particular article from the very scratch, and we'll see that what are the dimensions that are coming. First of all, where this particular article is going to be important. So this article will be important in GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, issues are related to the Constitution of India, constitutional issues. Secondly, this particular article will also be important for your polity polity, general understanding. Is it clear or not? So that's all. That is the importance of this article, and let's now first of all see that. Okay. If loss occurred, will government help or not? Okay, no. If there is a loss, government is not going to help you out. Sometimes government gives the fiscal stimulus. For example, when the lockdown came, many companies suffered, particularly the MSMEs. So government provided some support in the form of subsidized loan, etc. But no, there is no rule that government will come during the time of loss. Okay, let's discuss this article. Okay, so 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act was a fraud. Okay, now before going in this particular article, guys, let's discuss some of a background, and only after understanding this particular background we'll be able to make the sense of this particular article. So first let's discuss the background. Okay guys, and one more thing is that as we are discussing, please do appreciate by hitting a like button if you are liking the video, because when you hit the like button, okay, we get our video, it gets promoted by the YouTubes, okay, so that it can reach to the wider audiences. So if you like that, please you can do that. Okay, let's discuss the background now. So background goes like this, that actually what happened when we talk about the Constitution of India. Constitution of India talks about the special protection. The Constitution talks about the special protection to certain vulnerable sections of society. Okay, and in this special protection, Indian Constitution makes the provisions for the affirmative action. It makes the provision for the affirmative action. Okay, first of all, one important conceptual thing I want to tell you here, guys. Please don't use the words such as a reservation and all the such kind of things. Use the word such as affirmative action. Now, what's affirmative action? Affirmative action means all the things, all the steps that are being taken by the government to support certain vulnerable sections. For example, reservation. Reservation is one of a tool under affirmative action. Giving scholarship to a particular group, that is a tool under the affirmative action. So reservation, giving the scholarships, giving the subsidies to a particular section, all come under the affirmative action. So guys, government provides for the affirmative action, and in the affirmative action, the most important tool that is provided in the Constitution of India is the tool of reservation. It is the tool of reservation. Under Article number 15, under Article number 16, government has been empowered. Article 15 and Article 16 of Constitution, government has been empowered to make the reservation for certain sections. Now, when we talk about the reservation presently, guys, we are giving the reservation to the scheduled caste people, scheduled tribe people. Now the scheduled caste people, they are being given the reservation. How much reservation is being given to them? They are being given the 15% reservation. Scheduled tribe people, they are being given the 7.5% reservation. OBCs originally were not given any reservation, but Mandal Commission that was constituted in 1979, it submitted its report in 1980, and Mandal Commission recommended that OBC people are also to be given a reservation in India. And finally, after 1990, the OBC reservation also came. So today, OBCs are also getting the reservation. How much? 27% reservation. In total, how much reservation is being given? 49.5% reservation in total is being given. Now, why the 49.5% reservation? There is one logic behind that particular thing. So we have the Indira Sahani judgment. We have the Indira Sahani judgment. Now the Indira Sahani judgment, it came after the OBC reservation that was given. Indira Sahani judgment provided that the maximum reservation that India can give, it can be 50%, not more than 50%, because if you give more than 50% reservation, then the unreserved classes, general classes, there will be injustice against those people. So maximum reservation that is allowed, it is 50%, not more than that. Who said? Supreme Court said. In which judgment? Indira Sahani case. Okay, that was happening. Okay, so all the things were going good, but what happened? Meanwhile, government brought the 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act. Government came out with the 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, and in this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, one more reservation was provided, that is the EWS reservation. EWS reservation, that is economically weaker sections reservation. Okay, now 10% additional reservation was given. 10% additional reservation was given to the EWS, and today the reservation, how much it has reached? It has reached to 59.5%. Are you getting it or not? Now guys, these EWS people who have been given reservation, there are the criterias For example, what assets they are holding. So there is an asset criteria, okay, and then second is the income criteria. Asset means the house, the property that they are having, the land they are having, and other is the income criteria. So income criteria, when we talk about it, it has been provided that every household whose income is less than 8 lakh rupees, they will be coming in the EWS category. Okay, so 8 lakh rupees household income, you are economically weaker section and you can get this 10% reservation. Now there are many of the challenges that have been raised onto the validity of this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act. Now what are the challenges? I'll discuss first of all the challenges. Okay, so basically guys, the challenges are three. Okay, so triple test is there. So there is a triple test. Okay, so three challenges are there. Number one challenge that comes here is that you have increased the reservation today to 59.5%, and this particular reservation is violating the Indira Sahni judgment. It's violating the Indira Sahni judgment, okay, in which the Supreme Court provided that maximum reservation can be 50%. So this is the first challenge that has come on the 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act. Then what's the second challenge? Second challenge that comes here is that basically when we talk about the constitution, you understand that what is the nature of reservation? What is the nature of reservation? Reservation are to be given to the socially deprived people. Now scheduled caste people, for example, these are the people who were these are the people who have faced historical injustices. They have been treated as untouchable by the people. So as they have been treated untouchable, so scheduled caste people have faced historical injustice. Scheduled tribe people, they have always been excluded from the mainstream society, and other backward class people, never the government had given attention on them. So there were the social inequalities, and now you have given reservation on economic basis. So whether it impacts the basic structure of the Indian Constitution, because you have disturbed all the set parameters. So basic structure of constitution got impacted. And then the third challenge that come here is that guys, basically as today the reservation is to be provided to the EWS people. Okay, EWS category additional reservation is to be provided. So basically the private colleges, private institutions also have to provide reservation. In that particular capacity, their right to trade, their right to business will get impacted. So understand this particular thing. This 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act in a whole, it has been challenged. And as it has been challenged now, so basically what is going on in the Supreme Court, the arguments are going on. Supreme Court is hearing that whether it is problematic or not. And in that particular capacity, this comment has been made that 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act was a fraud on the Constitution of India. Is it clear or not? So guys, this is first of all the background, because in this article this entire background is not being given, but if we don't know the background, we cannot make the sense of this particular article. Fine. So first of all, we need to know the background. Now let's go in this particular article. Okay, so basically guys, what the argument that is being made, okay, just give I'll erase that first one. Okay, so what is the argument that is being given first of all? Okay, so basically the argument that has been given is that this is that reservation, it cannot be implemented as a poverty alleviation program. Okay, you cannot give reservation as a poverty alleviation program. For that, government has different schemes. For example, MGNREGA is there. Okay, then there are certain employment schemes. So reservation is not a poverty alleviation program. There is an entire purpose of the reservation. Reservation is for the social justice that is to be given. It has been provided that when we talk about reservation, it addresses the structural inequality. What is the structural inequality? Guys, in India, we have practiced the caste system, we have practiced the Varna system. In the Varna system, the Shudras, they were treated as that they have to serve the other four Varnas. In the caste system, the lower caste, they were given some menial works, they were given some kind of an exploitative kind of a work. So basically structural inequality came. What happened in our society, there were the Dalits, there were the untouchable, who have always been denied the equal opportunities, who have been denied education. So it created structural inequality, and to address that particular thing, the reservations are to be given. Why you are using reservation as to address the poverty? Now guys, the general classes or the forward classes, they are simply poor, and because of that the 10% reservation is being given. So it defeats the entire purpose. Now guys, there is one particular argument that is being made. It has been provided that it has been provided that poverty in the forward classes can be because of poor personal wealth management. Poor personal wealth management. Okay, some people, they are not able to manage their wealth, so therefore they can be the poor people. It has been said that giving the reservation to the EWS people, it also creates a moral hazard. It also creates a moral hazard. Now, what is this particular problem of moral hazard? It can be said that suppose there was a person, and he was a gambler. He lost all the money because of the gambling, because of the betting activities, and today that gambler who was earlier rich has become poor. He has become poor. Now, by the virtue of the economically weaker section reservation, he can get the 10% reservation. 10% reservation. So he has become eligible for reservation. But it is a moral problem. It is a moral hazard. So basically, the argument has been provided here that reservation on the basis of economic criteria creates the moral hazard. A gambler who lost all his money cannot be made eligible for the reservation. Financial incapacity fine is not a ground for reservation. It creates a moral hazard. Moreover, guys, understand this particular thing, that what is the condition for this EWS reservation. Okay, let's understand this particular thing also. So according to the government's EWS reservation, if 1 year's income of a household is less than 8 lakh rupees, they can get this EWS reservation. But in India, less than 5% of people file the income tax returns. Less than 5% people file the income tax return. Okay, so actually we don't know even whether that particular household is earning 20 lakh rupees or actually 8 lakh rupees. Many less households file their incomes, ITR, income tax returns. Moreover, guys, understand this particular thing here. This entire reservation is given on to the basis of a self-declaration, that okay, I'll come and I'll say that okay, I am earning less than 8 lakh rupees. So only on self-declaration you are giving the reservation. This particular thing can be abused. This particular thing can be misused. And then there is one more challenge that has come, is that when this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act was brought, there was no demographic study that was conducted. No research was conducted. No demographic study was conducted. So just government introduced this particular thing as a populist measure. What is the meaning of populist measure? Any measure which wants to attract the people for the political purpose, that is called as a populistic measure. So this entire exercise has been an exercise of populistic measure. So therefore, this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act is to be scrapped. Okay, or this particular 10% EWS reservation, it is to be rolled back. So this is an argument that is being made into the Supreme Court. Okay, so guys, I hope that you have understood this particular article. Okay, now moving on. For India, the buzzword now is all alignment. Okay, so guys, this particular article good article with respect to the examination. Fine, from the editorial section we have taken it. Sorry guys, actually from 2-3 days, okay, I have a sore throat. Fine, okay, so let's start with the article. So this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, India's foreign policy, India's international relations. Okay, so foreign policy and IR, we'll see this particular article. Now basically the article is talking about that now we are moving towards all alignment. Okay, now what the article is talking about? Basically, the article is talking about a reference has been taken from the book written by Minister of External Affairs, that is the India Way. Its reference has been taken. Okay, let's understand that first of all, the author is saying this particular thing, that in the past, India's foreign policy was driven by the non-alignment. It was driven by the non-alignment. Okay, non-alignment. Now, what was the non-alignment? Non-alignment simply meant that India will not favor any particular country, any particular grouping, any particular camp. Now see, the non-alignment of the India came during the time of the Cold War. So you might be knowing already that after 1945, the entire world got divided in two camps. One was the camp of the USA and other was the camp of the USSR. So the entire world got divided in these two camps. Okay, and all the countries were joining either the USA's camps or the USSR's camp. And this particular thing was making the world polarized. This particular thing was making the world more and more dangerous. Okay, as the two distinct camps were becoming and they were getting militarized. Here the India started with the non-alignment. India said that neither will join the USA nor will join the USSR, will create a third front. So that was the non-alignment, which was the hallmark of the India's foreign policy after 1950. But now the article says that we have to move into the world where the optimistic non-alignment is not a solution. So it is a policy of past. Today we have to move to more realistic multiple engagement policies of the future. So we want to have multiple partners. Okay, so guys, understand this particular thing, that though not here in this article it's mentioned, but in the past it has been said many number of times by the Minister of External Affairs that India has changed its foreign policy, and now the India's foreign policy can be called as strategic autonomy. Okay, India's foreign policy can be called as now as the policy of strategic autonomy. Now, what does this strategic autonomy means? I'll tell you just little bit beyond the scope of this article. Strategic autonomy means that India will choose its partner on the basis that which partner can help India in a particular situation, in a particular crisis. So at the same time, India will be friend with the USA, India will be the friend of China. So strategic autonomy means that the country will choose its partner as per their own needs, as per their own as per the exigencies of the time. Okay, so that's something that has been provided. So basically India is moving towards multiple engagements of the future. That is something that's going on now. In this particular context, guys, I have explained you into the overview also that India is going to participate into the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO summit that is being held in the Uzbekistan. Okay, so it will just come in few weeks time. Indian Prime Minister will go there, and when the meet will start, we'll see whatever will be outcome there. In this SCO meet, there will be the 15 leaders that will be coming. So the Central Asian states, 4 Central Asian states, China, India, Pakistan, Russia, Belarus, Mongolia, Iran. Okay, and guys, the countries such as the Iran, they are also going to become the member of the SCO this particular year. So now in total 15 countries will be sending the representatives into the SCO, and India is going to be there. Now understand this particular thing, that basically Afghanistan is not invited. Now when India will go there, the Indian Prime Minister will reinforce the commitment of the India's foreign policy. Now see, basically understand this thing, India will go into the SCO. In the SCO there will be the China that will be present. In the SCO there will be the Russia that will be present. Now China and Russia are right now the number one enemies of the USA. Now when we talk about India, India at the same time is engaging with the countries such as USA, it is engaging with the countries such as the China, Russia. For example, right now we are participating in SCO, but at the same time we are participating into the BRICS also. We are participating into the Quad, that is the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Now into the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue we have Australia, India, Japan, USA. Now guys, USA is today the number one enemy of Russia and China. So we are engaging with every person at the same time of time. After that, along with that, India is participating in other groupings also. For example, I2U2 meet recently happened. If you have followed the newspaper analysis, we covered the entire I2U2. Who is I2U2? In I2U2 there is India, Israel, USA, UAE. So the countries of the basically countries of the Middle East are also being covered. Fine, particularly the Israel is being covered, UAE is being covered. Then India is also is also negotiating under the Indo-Pacific Economic Forum. So understand that we are having the multiple engagements, and it will be reinforced when we'll go into the SCO. At the same time, guys, India has also participated with the Russian-led Vostok exercise. So Vostok exercise we have seen in our newspaper analysis also. So in the Vostok exercise we are participating with Russia. In the Vostok exercise, along with the Russia, China was also there. Now see, USA, China, Russia having the confrontation, and in that capacity India is doing a military exercise means a lot. After that, India will be co-hosting under the SCO RATS. Now what is RATS? RATS stand for the Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure. It is under the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO. So it will also be co-hosted by India. So India is giving very clear signals that for us there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies. We will choose our partners as per our need. This is something very clear signal that is being given by the India. Now guys, understand that it's not only military engagements India is doing with the Russia and China. At the same time, India is also doing military engagements with the countries such as the Australia. For example, with the Australia, with the Australia, Indian Air Forces have participated in the pitch black exercise. So pitch black exercise. Now guys, these things are important for prelims examination. These things are important for prelims examination. So pitch black exercise, with which country we have done? We have done it with the Australia. Then with the USA, we'll do the Yudh Abhyas. This exercise will be done next month along with the LAC. Now this is very strategically important. On the LAC, India is having confrontation with China, and around the LAC itself will do this Yudh Abhyas exercise with the USA. So USA is an enemy of China, and to give a signal to China, around the LAC we are doing the Yudh Abhyas. So what this all these particular points show, it shows India's multiple engagements simultaneously, and it simply points to the India's strategic autonomy that we have now chosen. So we have moved from the non-alignment to strategic autonomy, from no partners to multiple partners, from no partners to multiple partners. Okay, so you should be able to make such kind of an attempt. Now guys, on this particular line in the GS paper number 2, a full-fledged question even in IR section can be asked, that how India has moved from the era of no partners to the multiple partners. Give examples. So there you have to give all these examples that I have discussed in these 2 paragraphs. Okay, so please download this PDF and use it. Okay, now moving on. So basically guys, today when we see this particular thing, India is a country. Okay, if you make a Venn diagram, for example, there is the group of the Western countries, then there is a group led by Russia, then there is a group led by the East Asia, then the group led by Middle East. So in a Venn diagram, India will be one common which is participating in all. So India is a country which is an intersection which is participating in all. India is also becoming basically a grouping which is a very important partner into the coalition of democracy. Okay, so the Eurasia, the countries of Eurasia, they are creating a coalition of common goals. The West is creating the coalition of democracy. So India is part of the coalition of democracies, fine, as well as the other groupings. Now understanding further guys, next year, that is for the 2023. Now this particular thing we have seen yesterday also. So guys, I will encourage very highly that if you have not seen yesterday's newspaper analysis, only one article that we have discussed onto the foreign policy, please go and see that. There we have seen that all the groupings that India is going to head in the next coming year. So next year India will host the SCO summit, and as India will host the SCO summit, India will invite all the members of the SCO. Now within the SCO, China is a member as well as Pakistan is also a member. So India will be hosting the China as well as Pakistan, and it will show India's willingness, that how India is ready to cooperate with all the countries here in this particular capacity. Okay, now guys, in the SCO summit, we will also be negotiating with the Iran. Now in the Iran, the Chabahar port terminal is there, which is of a very particular interest of India. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that in the Iran, we are developing the Chabahar port. In the Iran, we are developing the Chabahar port. Now why this particular Chabahar port is important? Guys, what will happen basically today when we talk about India? Okay, we want basically guys, there is Iran, Chabahar port. Okay, here you have Central Asia. Here you have Central Asia. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that India is having a specific policy towards the Central Asia. We call this particular policy as the Connect Central Asia policy of India. Connect Central Asia policy of India. Connect Central Asia. As a part of the Connect Central Asia, India wants to reach the countries of the Central Asia, but we don't have any land connectivity with the Central Asia. You know this particular thing, that our borders with the countries such as the Afghanistan, they have been restricted because of the Pakistan occupied Kashmir that's there, which is illegally occupied by Pakistan. So land boundaries we don't have with the Central Asia. So therefore we are developing the port into the Iran, that is the Chabahar port, and through the Chabahar port will reach to the Central Asia. Through the Chabahar port will reach to the Central Asia, and then from here we might reach to the Russia also. And guys, already there is a project that is going on, that is the International North-South Transit Corridor. International North-South Transit Corridor, where Iran through the Iran through the Central Asia is getting connected to the Russia. So therefore having infrastructure into the Iran in the name of Chabahar port is very much important. So in the SCO meet, we will also be meeting with the Iran and we will be discussing onto the Chabahar port terminal which India has actually developed. Within the Chabahar port terminal, there is a Shahid Behishti terminal that India has actually developed. So please remember this particular name. So Shahid Behishti terminal is where it is in Iran. Now basically this connectivity project is very important because at the same time China and Pakistan are also having their independent project. For basically guys, there is a China-Pakistan economic corridor that is there, and in the China-Pakistan economic corridor, basically China is helping to build the Gwadar port in Pakistan. So in the Pakistan, Gwadar port is being developed by China. So this Gwadar port is a part of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. And guys, understand this thing, that actually this China-Pakistan economic corridor, when we talk about it, it passes from the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which is illegally captured by India. So in order to counter that CPEC, this Gwadar port, India is also building the Chabahar port. And on the Chabahar port, we'll be able to negotiate with the, we'll be meeting with the Iran in the SCO meet. So this is going to be very important. Okay, now guys, this recently one more initiative have been signed in this particular region, that is the regional economic corridor. It has been signed between the Afghanistan, China, Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. Okay, and what's the purpose of this regional economic corridor? The purpose of the regional economic corridor is to provide the connectivity to the Afghanistan. Now Afghanistan, we see this particular thing, that in Afghanistan there is a lot of, as the Taliban has taken over the Afghanistan, there is a probability that the terrorism can again come into the Afghanistan. Now what is the surest antidote to terrorism? It's that give the economic opportunities to a country. So in that particular thing, the economic opportunities will be given by giving connectivity. So that is a good initiative that is actually there. Now when we talk about the Iran, okay, along with the connectivity, that is the Chabahar port, we will be focusing on other things also. Today Iran wants that we should import the Iranian crude oil as early as possible. In this particular capacity guys, we have seen the a snapshot of an article on the page number 1 also that came. Okay, I'll just show you if you want. Okay, fine. So here you can see that onto the page number 1, the Iran, you just please read the heading, Iran may urge the India to restart the oil import. So this particular thing will be done at the sidelines of the SCO. At the sidelines of the SCO, India can ask, Iran can ask India to start the oil import. So guys, as India will be meeting the Iran here, there could be the demand by the Iran to start the oil import, and actually it's important for India also. Why? Because guys, India used to import a lot of oil from the Iran. Around 12% of India's oil needs were fulfilled by the Iranian oil, but we stopped that particular thing after 2019 when Donald Trump said that you need to stop the trade with the Iran because of the declining relations between the Iran and USA at that point of a time. So now the crude oil trade can also be resumed with the Iran, and Iran has also offered the discount to India also. Then guys, understand this particular thing that right now when we talk about the Iran, on the Iran there is one positive development that's happening. So there was actually guys earlier the joint comprehensive plan of action that was there. I'll explain you what this JCPOA is just in 30 seconds. So joint comprehensive plan of action. So basically guys, understand this particular thing, that actually the relations between the USA and Iran had become little bit problematic. Why the relations had become problematic? Understand this particular thing, that actually Iran goes for uranium enrichment. Iran goes for uranium enrichment. In this uranium enrichment, what they do, they increase the basically in the uranium enrichment, they enrich their uranium to convert that uranium into the war grade uranium. Now guys, if you enrich the uranium by 90%, it means that particular uranium can be used for making the bombs. If you increase the uranium, if you enrich the uranium to just say, let's say around 12 to 14%, that particular uranium can be used for research purposes. If you enrich the uranium to around 7 to 8%, it means that particular uranium can be used for the fuel. So if a country enriches the uranium, it should go to 7 to 8%, that is good, or it can go to 12 to 14% for research purposes, that is also good. But enriching uranium to 90%, it means that you might use that uranium to make the nuclear bomb, and Iran in the past have enriched the uranium. So for that particular thing, the sanctions have been imposed onto the Iran, and a lot of sanctions imposed. However, what happened, there was the joint comprehensive plan of action. there was the joint comprehensive plan of action that was signed during the time of the Obama administration. So during the time of the Obama administration, joint comprehensive plan of action was signed. It was said that Iran will reduce their enrichment, will open their nuclear facilities to the P5+1 countries. Okay, and then basically the sanctions will be removed. But actually, the Donald Trump withdrew out of this JCPOA deal. This JCPOA deal was signed and the sanctions were removed, but Donald Trump pulled out of that. And now the Biden administration, the Joe Biden into the USA, is again trying to start this joint comprehensive plan of action negotiation. That is also going on. And the next year, as India will host the SCO, India will also be hosting the Pakistan Prime Minister. Okay, and as India will be meeting now this year also into the SCO with the Pakistani counterpart, we need to see that how this particular thing will pan out, how this particular thing will come out. Okay, so this is, guys, all the engagement of India's foreign policy. Now I hope that you have understood, guys, which it was a very, very beautiful article. It was a very densely condensed article with a lot of information and with a lot of concepts, and I will give this particular article 5 star. Okay, so basically along with the article, the background etc that we have discussed onto the side by side, please make sure that you use this particular background with this article. So that's all, guys, about this particular article. And now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so here I can see some doubts. Okay, Nandan asks, sir, these articles are enough for prelims? Okay, see, guys, understand this particular thing. I want to address this particular thing, that see, the questions that are being asked into the UPSC, they are being asked from the newspapers only. Okay, every day before starting our analysis, we see the entire overview of the newspaper. It is in front of you. All the articles that are relevant are being taken every day. You see it every day. Okay, so you should be confident, okay, that these you should be confident that yes, okay, so the articles are important for both prelims as well as mains examination. You getting it or not? Fine. Now moving on. An improved bill but still contentious. Now this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2 GS paper number 2 issues of federalism, as well as GS paper number 3 infrastructure. Will see this particular article. Okay, so let's start what the article is talking about. So this particular article talks about the draft Indian Ports Bill 2022 that has been brought, and this draft Indian Ports Bill has become a controversial provision between the center government and between the state government. The state government are saying that Indian Union government is trying to temper on their power. Okay, so it has been called as the violation of the cooperative federalism in India. So let's see what this entire issue is, and then we'll see the implication of this particular article. Okay. So let's see this particular article. So basically, guys, when we talk about the ports, in India, the ports can be divided in two parts. There are the major ports. And then the other type of ports are called as the non-major ports. Now the major ports are those ports which are important from the shipping point of view. For example, when we talk about the basically JNPT Nhava Sheva port of the Mumbai, that is a major port. Are you getting it or not? When we talk about the ports such as the Kandala port in Gujarat, they are the major ports. So major ports are the ports which are important for shipping purpose. They are important from where the major India's exports etc that happen. So they have the major ports, and then there are the non-major ports. Non-major ports are the small ports. There the fishing and some recreational activities happen, not very much important with respect to the shipping etc. Is it clear or not? Now when we talk about the ports in India, guys, we have the 12 major ports such as the ports of Maharashtra, ports of Gujarat, and then other ports are also there, and along with that we have 212 non-major ports, that is the small ports. Now when we talk about the ports, I have already told you that the non-major ports, they are important for fishing etc. Now who has the power to legislate onto the major and non-major ports? So guys, understand this particular thing, that major ports is a subject under the union list. Major ports is a subject under the union list, which means that the parliament can make the law onto the major ports. But when we talk about the non-major port comes into the concurrent list. Concurrent list means that now you might be knowing the 7th schedule has the union list, state list and concurrent list. Concurrent list means the subject that is mentioned in that list, both the parliament and the state can make the law. So when we talk about the non-major ports are into the concurrent list. Okay, and for the non-major ports, okay, we have for the ports actually we have the Indian Ports Act of 1908. Indian Ports Act of 1908, which had controlled all this particular port and related activities. Now guys, the new bill that we are bringing, that is the draft port bill of 2022, it will replace the 1908 Act, 1908 Indian Ports Act that is there. Now when we talk about the 2022 draft bill, it has seen a lot of disagreement between the center and the state. Now what is the disagreement? So this entire controversy is something which is important, and we'll understand that what's the disagreement and why the controversy is coming on. Okay, now listen very carefully. Only a very small controversy, not a small controversy, a big controversy, but on one thing it's there. So basically guys, actually in 1997 there was one organization that was created by the government, that is the Maritime State Development Council. Maritime State Development Council. Now this particular body was created by an executive order. Executive order means that simply an order was passed by the Ministry of Shipping and this particular body got created. It was not created by the law. It was not created by the parliament by a law. So it was simply a body created by executive order. Now this particular body, it has the Union Minister of Shipping as a chairperson. Union Minister of Shipping as a chairperson. Then the ministers in charge of ports of the maritime states. Now guys, all the states are not there maritime states. For example, if you talk about Haryana is not a maritime state. If you talk about Madhya Pradesh is not a maritime state, but Maharashtra is a maritime state. Okay, Tamil Nadu is a maritime state. Okay, so basically all the ministers in the states, the ministers of the maritime state, fine, who are in charge of shipping, they will be the members, and the Union Minister of Shipping will be the chairman. So this MSDC, that is the Maritime State Development Council, was created. Now this was the apex body, this was the main body which was to coordinate the development and all such kind of things of the major ports as well as non-major ports. Now this particular body has met only in 18 times in the last 25 years since 1997. Now guys, what this particular 2022 bill is trying to give, it is giving the statutory status to this particular body. Statutory status means that in the law, that is into the ports bill, this MSDC will be given a permanent status, that this is going to be a body which will make all the decisions with respect to the ports etc. in India. Now guys, what has happened? The state government has protested that okay, it was an executive body, we were comfortable, but why you are giving it as a permanent status, and by the law you are giving the statutory status to this particular body. Statutory status means that by the law will give them the permanent status. Okay, so this is something that's happening. So basically, now the state government is saying that this particular thing means that the center is trying to curtail the power of the state government. Now why? Because you know that into the MSDC, who is the chairperson? Chairperson is the union minister. So as he is the union minister, it is being said that it will overpower the state governments. So therefore it has been said. Now basically this fight is going on between the center and the state government. Now what's the way forward? What needs to be done? So guys, understand this particular thing, that we have some of the international case studies. Now in the international case studies, we have the case studies of the USA. Now in the USA, the ports that are there, they are managed by their counties and the municipalities. Okay, so their municipalities, their counties, which are very small units, they are managing the entire ports. In the Germany also, the ports are being managed by the municipal and the regional level governments. Even into the China, the municipal level bodies, local authorities, they are maintaining the ports. Okay. Even there are the corporatized ports also into the USA. Private parties are also managing and owning the ports. So the question comes that why in India the ports on that the major saying is being given to the union government by the way of the MSDC. So you know that MSDC's chairperson will be union government, union ministry's member, union government's minister. So why we are trying to centralize that particular thing? So by learning the international experience, we need to see that the ports are to be best, they should be managed by the local and the regional government. So therefore the state government should be given the role, and decentralization, deregulation and restoring the power of state government is something that's needed in this particular direction. So this is something that has been justified by this particular article. Okay. So that's all guys about this, and this entire controversy of the MSDC is a very big controversy, that is the Maritime State Development Council. Okay, so this is the entire issue. Okay, so guys, I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, before this particular article, let's talk about some of the doubts that had come. Okay, difference between international relation and foreign policy. See, international relation are the relation between two countries. For example, India's relation with Pakistan, that is India's international relation. Foreign policy. Foreign policy is a kind of a policy which shows that what are the country's priorities in immediate term. For example, what is India's priorities as how India is going to engage with the foreign countries. For example, when we talk about the non-alignment movement, now non-alignment movement was a part of the India's foreign policy. So foreign policy concerns when all the countries are there. So all the countries will be carried as per the foreign policy. International relations are country to country. International relations are between one country to another country. Okay. It is highly demanding bill. I have come across various situations. There is a conflict, clarity because regulations are not there. Local bodies in India are not empowered enough and are poorly managing the ports. Okay, so yes, that is the case that the local bodies, they don't have enough financial powers, but by giving them port, they will get the financial power. So that is one viewpoint that has come. Okay, now let's read this particular article. Connecting the dots to boost the patent ecosystem. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3 innovation. Okay, now basically guys, the article is talking about a recent report that has been published. So recently a report has been published by the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. Now in this particular report, it has been provided that India needs to urgently invest in its patent ecosystem. Now if India wants to become a knowledge economy, India needs to work onto the patent ecosystem. We want more and more patents should be filed in India. Now first of all, there is a positive development that has happened into the past. According to the report, it has been said that today there are rising share of residents into the total number of patent applications that are being filed in India. Now see, when the patents are being filed in India, they are being filed by the resident as well as they are being filed by the non-residents. They are being filed by the foreigner corporate also in India. In the past, always the number of patents, the more patents have been filed by the corporates or by the foreign residents and not Indian residents. But for today, the first time we find this thing that today more and more patents are being filed by the residents. This is something that has important. So this year, the number of patent application by residents, it has surpassed that is of the foreign applicants. So this is a good thing that has happened. Now understand that there are certain issues into the patent regime in India, and these issues will see that. Now first of all, as per the annual report of 2019 and 20, that is the latest report, the report by the Office of the Controller General of Patent Design, Trademark and Geographical Indications. According to this particular report, today the abandoned patent applications, okay, the patent applications that are not meeting the requirement, that number has been increased. Today the number of abandoned patent has increased by 350%. Okay, so from 2010 to 2019-20, the abandoned application means the applications of patent which don't meet the criteria, they have increased. This is creating a huge pressure. This is creating a huge backlog. We need to understand that why such pendency is increasing into the patent. Now understand this, that actually in 2016, India adopted the National Intellectual Property Right Policy of 2016. Now as per this particular policy, government promoted that more and more number of people should file the patent, more and more patent filings should be done. And just guys, in that particular thing, a lot of relaxations have been given with respect to filing of the patent. And today what is happening, moreover the incentives have also been given for filing the patent. Today what is happening, everybody is filing the patent even when the people know that their patent will not be passed, their patent is not their patent will not be passed, their patent will be abandoned. Still the people are filing the patent, the organizations are filing the patent because incentives are there. And by that particular thing, what happened, many of the patents don't pass the scrutiny and they are being abandoned. So this is a problem that has come. Now in this particular capacity, government, the article is suggesting that we need to eliminate such bad incentives that have been given. We need to eliminate all those particular incentives. So this is something that has been provided. Now guys, when we talk about the Global Innovation Index, first of all, just for your understanding, Global Innovation Index ranks the countries in terms of the innovation ecosystem that is there. As per the latest Global Innovation Index that has been there, 2021, India's ranking is 46. Earlier India's ranking was 48. So right now India's ranking in Global Innovation Index is 46. Now, in the global innovation index, basically around 80 indicators the countries are ranked. Okay, industry academia collaboration is also one. Industry academia collaboration is also one. Now, when we talk about India, guys, basically India's score for this particular indicator, that is the collaboration between the industry and academia, it has declined over the last years. Okay, so from 47.8 it has declined to 42.7. So basically the academics, that is the research organizations and then the industry, they are not collaborating. So this is something on which also we need to see. Otherwise India is doing good. So there have been improvement in some indicators in India. Okay, overall ranking of India is 46 in 2021, that already we have discussed, but still there are some areas where we need to do some improvement. So guys, these are some of the recommendations that have been given in this particular article to improve the patent ecosystem in India. So that's all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood. It was a very crisp and very to the point kind of an article. Fine, so good article. Now we'll move to the next one. Now this is a very good article, an opportunity for India incorporation. So this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, that is the corporate sector and its responsibility, as well as in GS paper number 4, the corporate ethics also will read this particular article, corporate ethics. Okay, now okay, what is GI tag? Dear GI tag, GI means geographical indications. So GI tag is given to a particular commodity or a particular product that is a specialty of a particular region. For example, Darjeeling tea has been given a GI tag. So all the tea that is being grown in the Darjeeling, that tea has been given the GI tag. It means now its marketability is increased. Are you getting it or not? So giving a GI tag gives a distinct recognition to that particular product. Okay. Now, basically guys, this particular article is talking about that how in India the corporate landscape is increasing, how the corporate landscape is actually changing. Okay, so we'll be starting with a very small analogy which will explain this entire situation. Now see guys, actually what happened, first of all, just my own personal take. In India guys, we worship Lakshmi, ji. Lakshmi ji has been the goddess of the wealth, but at the same time we don't see the people who have generated wealth with a lot of respect. It has been seen that the people who are generating wealth, they are the greedy people. So in India, at the same time we are worshipping the goddess Lakshmi ji, but at the same time the wealth generation is not seen very much positively. It is seen as a pursuit of greed and all such kind of things. But that particular landscape is now changing. Now guys, when we talk about the people such as Ratan Tata, people such as Mukesh Ambani, Azim Premji, they have not just been seen just as a wealth creator, but they are being seen as a nation builders. So positive change is now coming. Now the guilt complex, okay, that was there with the wealth generation, it has been disappeared from the nation's conscious, which is a positive change that is coming. Now the corporate today, they are receiving the goodwill, they are receiving the trust, they are receiving the confidence and all those kind of things that's there. But we need to see that whether the corporate has lived as per the expectation, whether the corporate is doing sufficient or not. So this is something that we need to see. Now guys, understand this particular thing. There is one Mahatma Gandhiji's quotation that has been given. You can use it directly in your answers. So what Mahatma Gandhiji says? Mahatma Gandhiji says that what we need in India is not the mass production. What we need in India is not the mass production, but the production by the masses. Okay. So guys, understand this particular thing, that Gandhiji was not in always too much of favor in the automation, machines, etc. According to Gandhiji, any technology which replaces the manual labor, that technology is not desirable. Okay, so Gandhiji said that we don't need mass production, we need the production by the masses. Now understand in this particular thing that the corporate has a special responsibility. Corporate also was expected to create the jobs, but what has happened in India? Corporate has not created so much of the jobs. We are seeing the jobless growth, where the growth came, but the jobs have not been created. Right now, as per the periodic labor force survey, 4.2% is unemployment rate. So corporate has not created the jobs. Who is creating the jobs right now in India? In India, there are the blue collar employment. Blue collar employment means the people working in some manual kind of work. Okay, so these blue collar employment are being generated by the small and medium enterprises. Right now guys, today we see there is 45% of India's manufacturing that takes place into the sweatshops, small shops making garments, small shops making some kind of a chemical factories, small engineering workshops. 45% of the manufacturing is happening there, and these small and medium enterprises are hiring the maximum number of people. Corporate has went for automation. Corporate has went for digitization. They are not creating the jobs. Guys, majority of jobs is also being created into the gig sector, gig economy. Now, what is gig economy? Gig economy is that component of economy where the employer and employee are not having the long-term relations. Okay, fine. For example, Ola, Uber, they are the gig sectors. Okay. Now, when we talk about India's small and medium enterprises, they need to modernize itself with the help of digital technology. They want the professional management. They want a scale of operations, technical skills, managerial skills, all are needed. Fine. So basically today, to create this new economy, India's corporate sector can help the SMEs, small and medium enterprises. That is something which is expected out of the corporate. Now guys, understand this particular thing. Today when we talk about India, let's take one example. Today Indian food is renowned around the world. Indian food has so much of diversity. It has a so rich taste, aroma. But see, no Indian food has scaled to the level of McDonald's or KFC. Now McDonald's, KFC, they are the basically McDonald's for example, KFC for example. McDonald's is an American chain, American burgers, American delicacies. They have reached the entire world, but not Indian. Why? Because corporate have never helped the small food sectors, even the food operators operating in other countries also, to scale their businesses. So this is a important role that the corporate can play. Now understand this particular thing, that across the world today we see the informal sector is now evolving. Informal sector is becoming formalized. For example, you talk about the drivers. Drivers were always into the informal sector, but today they are getting formalized. Why? By the corporate help. For example, Ola and Uber. The Ola and Uber that has come had provided a platform to the drivers. Okay, and they have now been able to become a formal sector. Okay, now when we talk about this particular model where the recognition was given to the drivers by the Ola and Uber, this particular model can be replicated in other situations also. For example, a vegetable vendor can be connected with the households by the technology, by the platforms, by the startups that are coming in this particular direction. So the vegetable vendor can be made a part of an e-commerce company, and the last mile connectivity can be provided to him. Guys, when we talk about the countries such as Taiwan, so today Taiwan plays a very important role. Taiwan has translated itself by the technology. Earlier, Taiwan was selling just the cotton shirts, plastic flowers, wooden toys. But today, Taiwan is developing very high sophisticated products. For example, memory chips, laptops, smartphones. So today, Taiwan has evolved from very basic goods to high goods, to high technology goods. How that happened? Because of the corporate there. They have helped Taiwan to scale. Now, when we talk about, guys, presently in India, there are some positive initiatives that are coming. For example, Amazon has said that Amazon will invest $1 billion in digitizing the small and medium enterprises. To build their capacity, Amazon will spend $1 billion. We need such kind of initiatives from other corporates also. Now, Government of India has also started the ONDC, that is the Open Network for Digital Commerce. Under this ONDC initiative, one common platform will be provided where all the e-commerce players can come together. So this is the small technicalities that, for example, government is providing by ONDC, Amazon is providing. These initiatives from the corporates today are needed to formalize economy, to provide opportunities to many more such kind of people. Okay, so that is all, guys, which is there in this particular article. And now we'll move to the next article. Okay, 384 drugs on the essential medicine list. Okay, now understand this particular thing. This particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2 health, GS paper number 2 health. Now see, you don't need to go and see what are these 384 drugs onto the essential medical list. No, fine, you don't need to even see that which goods got changed or which goods moved from which list to that list. No, that's not needed. What we need to know, we need to see the academic dimension of this particular article. So basically, guys, we will be seeing here the national list of essential medicines in which the change has recently happened. So for the exam point of view, we'll understand this article. So basically, guys, understand this thing from the very scratch. I'm telling you. So there is the DPCO 2013. Okay, now as per the DPCO Act of 2013, Now, basically, guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the drugs, when we talk about the drugs, all the drugs cannot be made applicable to the people at the market prices. Some drugs are are very important for the poor people. Okay, some drugs are important to eradicate many of the health emergencies that is there. So, guys, actually, the prices of certain of the drugs are controlled by the government of India, and in that particular capacity, we have DPCO. DPCO stands for Drug Price Control Order. DPCO stands for the Drug Price Control Order. So as per the Drug Price Control Order of 2013, certain drugs prices can be controlled. So there is actually one list. There is one list. We call this particular list as NLEM. NLEM. NLEM stands for National List of Essential Medicines. So as per the Drug Price Control Order, any drugs whose name will be mentioned into the NLEM, their prices will be controlled. Their prices will be fixed at a particular level. Who will control their price? So there is one more authority that comes, that is the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. Okay, so basically any drug whose name is mentioned into this NLEM, that is the National List of Essential Medicine, those prices can be controlled by the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, NPPA. Clear? So guys, understand that from time to time certain medicines are added in this NLEM and certain medicines are removed from this particular NLEM. Now, which medicines will come into NLEM? Those medicines will come in NLEM which will satisfy certain basic priorities, certain basic criteria. For example, there are the three important aspects, that is the cost, safety and efficacy. The cost, safety and efficacy. So the drugs which could be very high in terms of cost, but they are needed for the people, their names can be mentioned into this NLEM list and their price will be controlled. Okay, the drugs which are very much important for basically the drugs which are very much important for the safety and efficacy, okay, for keeping our people safe. Now guys, understand this thing, that from the time to time many of the infectious diseases come. Controlling those diseases, we need medicines, and for that particular thing we need to have some control on that medicine. So their name can also be put into this NLEM. Now guys, when we talk about NLEM, first National List of Essential Medicines, it was brought in 1996, then it got changed in 2013, 11, 15. Now what has happened, again the NLEM revision has happened in 2022, and it is after the gap of 7 years that the NLEM revision has happened. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Now guys, what has happened actually, now there are 384 drugs onto the National Essential Medicine list. Okay, so basically, okay, even here you can read that the pricing of the essential medicine is regulated by the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, NPPA. Now there are certain drugs that have been there, some drugs have been removed, some new drugs have been added. So you don't need to go and see the name, which drug got added, which drug got removed. Just you need to understand the concept of the NLEM. Okay, then the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority that controls these particular prices, and all just these things you need to understand for your UPSC exam. So that's all guys about this article, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so this article we have taken from this article we have taken from the text and the context section, and it is talking about the cognitive dissonance theory. Now this particular concept we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 4 ethics. GS paper number 4 ethics. Now what is this cognitive dissonance theory? Now understand, in this particular article they have told the story that okay, how this cognitive dissonance theory was brought. There was a lady who was doing some cult practices in USA, then an experiment was done. That background is not at all important for UPSC. You just need to see what's the idea. So what's the cognitive dissonance theory? Cognitive dissonance theory provides that, see, sometimes there is inconsistency between a person's thought and between a person's behavior, and that inconsistency leads to uncomfortable psychological or emotional tensions. So therefore what a person does, either a person will change the person will change the inconsistent elements to remove the dissonance. Now understand this particular thing. For example, suppose my thought is this that let's say my thoughts are this, that I should not vote for the criminal candidates. I should not vote for the criminal candidate. This is my thought. But when the voting is to be done, somebody is putting a pressure on me that you have to vote for Mr. A, and Mr. A is a criminal. So what's happening? My thought is that I should not vote for criminal candidate, but somebody is pressuring me that you should vote for Mr. A, and Mr. A is a criminal. So what happened? There is an inconsistency that is coming between my thought and between the behavior that I have expected to do. Such inconsistency will lead to mental tension. It will lead to mental problem, and that is called as the cognitive dissonance. Dissonance means a mental discomfort, a mental pain. So according to cognitive dissonance theory, when your thought and your behavior are not aligned, you think something else but you have to behave in some other direction, there will be a kind of a dissonance that will come. For example guys, let's say you support homosexuality, you go to your village and there, let's say people are debating onto the homosexuality. You have to say that yes, homosexuality is bad. Why? Because you don't want to hurt your parents, you don't want to hurt your community members, but in thought you support homosexuality. So basically sometimes our thought and behavior diverge, and that creates a problem, that creates a tension, that creates a dissonance. Okay, then guys, sometimes people what do? People remove the inconsistent elements. They will change their thought also to remove that inconsistency. Okay, so that is the cognitive dissonance theory. Okay, so this particular cognitive dissonance theory we can use in GS paper number 4 in the chapter of attitude. So that's all guys about it. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the and with this we come to an end into the today's editorial analysis. So these are all the important articles in the today's newspaper, and guys, I hope that you have understood all these particular articles. So that's all for today. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Until then guys, if you have liked the video, please do like, please do comment. Your lovely comments are always the most valuable contribution to us, so that means a lot. I read every one of your single comment personally, and also I try to reply, but sometimes I'm not able to reply because of the hectic schedule of the classes that's there, but I read every one of comment personally. So thank you guys, thank you for all of your support, thank you so much. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.